No, I was
Oh,
there
the
for that.
retrial.
I was there for that.
For the
yeah.
retrial.
I thought that was.
I went to high school with Rick Tabish and
Oh, did
Brotzer.
you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
In
awesome.
fact, Brotzer and I were really close. Like,
All right. So
that's
where's the
what-
silver?
Huh?
Where's the silver?
Oh, I don't know, man. The people have been digging and looking for it.
Well, they got one of the they got like a corner of one of the vaults.
Yeah, Tabish did. They caught him with silver bars, and I think there were some gold coins.
Yeah.
And
But they didn't recover it all. There's
Right.
still like some missing silver, or at least according to
the family.
Binion's heir or
Yeah.
whoever. They're like, no, there was more there. Who knows if there was?
Sandy Murphy had like everything in her name.
Well,
They
what-
totally snaked the tube down his throat
Oh,
and fed him heroin.
Yeah.
OD'd him.
Yeah.
Hey, Ron, up on
No, I thought that was like the biggest drama. I thought it was
Antioch
going to be like a big
police person, Burris
They
person?
did. They did it. Yeah. With,
Damn.
Matthew Modine.
Oh, okay. He's good. I'll have to look that up.
Mm-hmm.
So Binion, so you've been to Vegas. Binion's Horseshoe was like one of the original casinos, and it's in off the Fremont Street Experience.
Okay.
And so
We
these
wanted
people
to
were
see
talking
photos.
about. So Binion, of course, is this mogul, casino mogul guy worth a lot of money. So his wife is like a supermodel. Well, not.
No,
supermodel,
she was a stripper girlfriend.
Right.
Sandy Murphy.
Right.
This is
She
the appropriate, yeah, so, you might wanna do.
But so
some
she's
more
obviously
information.
like 50 years younger.
She was no
I don't know how
supermodel.
long.
Well, she's not a supermodel. But the point I'm getting at is like she's 90 years old.
Right.
Check 1 2, check 1 2.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
Thanks, bye.
But she ends
Okay,
up
bye.
having an affair with the pool boy.
Rick Tabish.
Right. And they hatch a plan to steal his silver.
Ah,
And to
Kill him.
that was the
Make it
heroin.
look like a heroin overdose
Right.
because he had a record of using
Okay,
heroin.
so I guess I'm on the
How did they
switch.
figure out
So,
that?
You're the pool?
They had a trial, they were found guilty, but then they called a
Well, we
mistrial
both are.
because the two of them being tried together and there were some steps that weren't taken, so they retried them.
Right.
I was about to
And
go
they-
in and like, yes.
They're exonerated on retrial. They
Really?
There was
That's good, we got
Bronson
it on the
changed his
table.
testimony.
Let's on the switch.
In the original trial, he said that Tabish
What
hired
time did
him,
you start today?
tried to hire him to jump out of a helicopter because Bronson was a Green Beret in the
In
Army.
the morning shift.
Jump out of a helicopter on the property and then shoot him with one of Tabish's rifles,
No, they put me on
some
there.
hunting rifle.
Man.
Well,
And this was
there was
2000
construction
to-
equipment. They stole or rented construction equipment, and so they were like with the foot of the motor, like digging out the desert,
Vault, there was a
trying to
vault.
find the vaults. You know, because
Were they hid?
They got some.
Yeah,
They found one vault and
they
then
got a corner of one of them. Were able to like get in and like, take some stuff.
sheriff's deputies arrest them as they're leaving the scene.
Man.
Originally
This is not
just for
ringing
the
any bells.
theft and then the murder.
I mean, I was in the Central Valley, but I did not remember any of that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, we were down at the court every single day.
Oh,
At that
okay.
time, I was an editor, so I
Sensational.
wasn't actually down at the court. I was taking in the feeds.
Yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah.
It was riveting just like watching.
The retrial, Brotzer said the prosecutors told him to say that stuff, that he didn't, Tabish didn't really ask him to kill him.
that stuff.
And then Brotzer was hired by Sandy Murphy's then new boyfriend, who was an Irish gold miner.
Okay.
It was like, there's real,
That was the payoff.
right.
Yeah, well,
You
I
got-
for this new
you got a job.
you just change your testimony a little bit.
A few years later, Brotzer ended up dead
Oh, did he?
in Missoula, yeah.
Yeah.
He was doing math and just, he was a bodybuilder at one time, great big guy, looked like Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, God, it was so long ago.
I just watched Brotzer's testimony a couple days ago.
Oh,
You
really?
know, I only have
On
like
YouTube.
That's how you go off. These details I didn't remember all that.
because I forgot to bring up my backup power supply.
Well, I got 82%.
There you go.
Yeah, Tavish was a bad egg from the beginning, like in high school. He went to high school across town.
So did you grow up in Vegas?
No,
Did you live
from
there?
Missoula. He's from Missoula.
Right, but I mean you, did you?
No, never worked in Vegas. My friend Beth Fisher worked there for a long time as banker. NBC, I think. I think she was at ABC and then NBC.
So how come you know so much about this?
Because my best friend in high school
Oh,
was
that's right.
implicated, and then Tavish, who was like my arch nemesis in high school.
Oh, that's how you know about this.
Right.
Because of a personal connection.
Right, Tavish used to like sneak up on people and beat them up with a baseball bat.
Okay. So he's just a bad seed.
Right. Yeah. Now he's a billionaire.
Really?
Yep, after he got out of prison, he started a Bitcoin, some cyber currency, like
Some more Bitcoin kind of.
a Bitcoin, like processing thing, that they're just sucking up all the groundwater around this thing.
Cooling, yeah.
It's an environmental disaster in Montana.
Okay. Well, good for him, I guess.
He inherited a bunch of money from his dad was an oil guy.
Oh, okay.
So then he turned that in after dark, and turned it around and made this company, Bitcoin. He's murdered though. He's walked around free, killing.
I wonder if he's hanging out with Mario while OJ was there.
It's been a while since I've been here.
I went into their office mistakenly, they're just having coffee and,
At least they offered us coffee.
they're having their
That's
own
it?
little
The
lunch.
office
If it goes much longer, we're gonna have to ask for a donut
for lunch.
or lunch. I go for lunch.
Cool.
Yeah, I just got it. Yeah, that way I can game on it too.
Nice.
I'll be playing games right now, except you all are watching, and I don't wanna look like I suck. Yeah, it's got a great screen.
Is that the new?
How many folks?
This is my new rig.
How many folks?
It's a Acer
I
Nitro.
Yeah.
Got a,
It's kind of
one of the new NVIDIA chips.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's light. It's made out of aluminum, so it's quite a bit lighter than water. Cause I gotta lug it around. I don't wanna be toting
You
around.
do mouse and keypad or?
No, I haven't done mouse and keypad for years. I play, separate controllers. It's, the main reason is when you hit, your W or whatever, you go forward, it's not analog. It's just one
Slow or
speed.
not,
Yeah, you can't like slowly creep up on it,
That's the first point.
unless I'm missing something. Yeah, that's my big complaint about that. No, we were pushing around tables, we saw wherever we wanted, so.
They're coming down.
That's the word?
Yeah, I was,
They came down 20 minutes ago to say they're coming down.
I went up there this morning, I was just like hanging out in the conference room.
So, I think I got overly excited when Burris came in here.
This is it. This is it. Guys, yeah, here we are.
That sounds like you do.
I know. So I set off the traffic, you can get through it, I get it. That's what my wingman's for.
That's why we want those houses.
So Ron's indication to me was, I think, let's try to get through this without any major
I got the Waffles Bottle Bakery eating muffins the other day.
Maybe we should wait.
Oh my God. Yeah,
What's in one of the bakery?
world-renowned English muffins. They're so good. There's no other English muffins. Model Bakery.
Where is it?
Walnut Creek is one. They've got a
Yeah,
couple
one in
of
Napa. There's one at the Oxford Market in Napa, and then one like in Napa.
I'm worried about my
ABL, yeah. English muffins are
Oh, so it's from like a train set.
It's like $14 for 6 English muffins. Almost tastes like a donut.
Yeah, it's got like a fluffy finish.
You just get a donut for $1.
No, it's better.
Actually, donuts are not $1.
I was about to say, where do you get the dollar donuts?
Maybe $2. Maybe $2.50.
Yeah, reheat them in the air fryer like 40 to 4 minutes.
Hey, yeah.
Like fresh out of the oven.
Very fast. Nice. There's some really good donut shop.
Did Ted Goldberg send you?
Look like the.
Tell him I said hi.
Chocolate, pistachio filling.
Matt Bigler. He was with us for several years, but it's been
No, I just stumbled on it.
probably over 10, maybe even 15 years now. I haven't seen him in
Saturday
years.
night shift. Did the bullshit?
Yes.
We're at the airport.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's the best burritos.
I miss Raquel.
Taqueria San Bruno.
She's got a classy voice, and she's a good journalist. But she kind of had it. Yeah. What's your name?
I think we're on the other side of the table. That's what I think John said, but
I go right in.
Oh, boy. Is it this side or the?
other side. The way he pointed to me was like it was his right hand pointing to the
Yeah.
right side, and then the.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Oh, hi. Good to see you. So, yeah. Good to see you. I was trying to open up there. So far out. Well, I think she's sitting. So it's just us. I just want to make sure that John doesn't have to put on his side.
Are we going to be sitting here, Chief?
But he might make us move, so which is fine. I feel like an obedient student.
I don't know what this thing is. Just like tilted or something.
Oh, sorry, am I in the way?
No. We're just working on audio.
No,
Do you want to do a mic check?
no, I've done one. It's fine.
Would anyone like to volunteer to do a mic check?
How was your testing?
Just talk. There you go, right
Okay.
there. Tell us what you had for breakfast this morning.
Nothing, and I need coffee.
What?
I need coffee. Well,
there
Mr.
is
Burris
coffee.
did offer me breakfast. I just didn't
Okay.
eat anything, 'cause, nerves. And also, who wants to get crumbs on this suit, Come on. So, is it working? You guys
Yeah,
hear me?
I think you're good. Thank
Okay.
you very much.
All right.
And I hope that
Are
you
we on the
get
right side?
Yeah, you're something soon.
Oh, thank you.
got people in the elevator. So.
I'll sit down here in a minute, but I'm waiting for the record button to start.
You wait to see how many people got left. This should be up here.
Right? Yep. Good. Can you tell everybody to the lights?
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you know who Mark Stevens is?
Well, welcome everyone. This is a highly unusual setting for me, generally, but I think it's one that is highly important and historic in many ways. Historic because it's a collaboration between the plaintiffs and the defendants here, but a collaboration for, in my view, the future of the department. As we came into this case a couple years ago, it was pretty outrageous situation, fact pattern, some of which you already know. I'm not going to go to all of that again because that's probably not within the best spirit of why we're here. It's just to say that there were reasons for us to be involved in this case, and I will just say that we had an opportunity during the course of working through this. There's been two parts to the case, one involving individual plaintiffs, which we settled, 23, but the real hard work of this case occurred as we sought to deal with improving the department and putting together a plan of action that we think that would be in the best interest of the department, the police officers in the department, and the community at large within the city itself. After all, the issue is always constitutional policing and the impact that it has on the community and also on the officers themselves. So it was a win-win situation in that sense. I will say that it was very positive and commendable that the effort that we had with the city manager here, who came in as we started doing this portion, and I think was the lead of her team in us working collaboratively. So the run of the thing will be is that we'll start. The city manager will introduce her team. I will introduce our team. We will then have subject matters a little bit about the agreement itself. And then once that has taken place, we will sign the agreement publicly. Then after that, we will take questions from the media. And after that, those questions have been answered. Then we will have statements from the various community people and representatives who are interested in this matter that can make their comments. We will seek to answer them if we can. If not, they will not get answered. But it's a positive statement and a positive time that we're here, and we want to function in such a way that we could set forth a process in place that allows us to go forward. Keep in mind that even though there's an agreement here, we're still, and the plaintiff's lawyers will still be involved, and it still will be somewhat our responsibility to work collectively with the monitor and the department to ensure that the agreement is completed. And I will assure everyone that it is my intent not to be involved in a case like I have been in Oakland for 27 years. I was in a spot in October in 2003 when we signed the agreement in Oakland, and we still have not totally completed the agreement, although I must admit it has been very positive in terms of this interpretation and impact upon the community itself. So I'm looking forward to that same kind of positive response here in terms of police officers' interaction with the community and the community's reaction to the police. That doesn't solve the crime problem. It only means that the police and the community will be working in a positive way. So starting out now, I'd like to introduce the city manager, Bessie Scott.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. I will let my team introduce themselves and have their statements. Good morning. I'm Bessie Marie Scott, City Manager for the City of Antioch. I want to start by acknowledging what this period has meant for people in Antioch. The last few years have been difficult and for many residents deeply unsettling. Trust was strained, confidence in institutions took a serious hit, and many in our community have carried that weight in ways that don't show up in the headlines. Today reflects the culmination of a long, demanding process. It has taken ongoing effort, patience, and a willingness to stay engaged, even when it was uncomfortable. I want to recognize the people who kept showing up and kept working. I'm grateful to John Burris and his team. We have approached this from different sides, but there was a shared understanding that Antioch needed a path forward that is durable and serious. That kind of alignment does not erase differences. It makes progress possible. I also want to thank our city staff and legal team for moving this work forward with discipline and care. And I want to recognize the community, residents, advocates, and neighborhood voices who insisted the city meet a higher standard and kept that expectation in front of us. I also want to appreciate the Antioch Police Oversight Commission and city leadership for supporting forward movement and for the decision to hire a chief who reflects the values this moment requires. Leadership sets the tone, and over time, it shapes culture. Today is about refusing to let the city remain defined by the failures and controversy that brought us to this point. Antioch deserves a government that listens, adjusts, and delivers. It deserves public service that is fair, professional, and consistent across every neighborhood and every interaction. As we move into the next chapter, our focus is on steady execution, staying transparent about progress, and earning trust through sustained performance and measurable improvements. Thanks so much. I'm going to pass it to my city attorney.
Good morning. I'm Kevin Kundinger. I'm an assistant city attorney with the city of Antioch. Just to kind of mirror what our city manager, Ms. Scott, said, there was a lot of work that went into this, a lot of collaborative work, and it's something where when I came to the city of Antioch, there was a much different thing. The city was in the middle of this scandal, and there was a lot of time, work, effort, and empathy given to this from the city side, from the plaintiff side, and this is just, I think, this is a very important part of being able for the city to move forward and for us to kind of get to where we should be. And so today, it marks that, and it marks a lot of work done by everyone, hundreds of hours spent in court, emails, arguments, agreements, everything. It was a real human process, and it was exemplified greatly by everyone who put in work on this. I'm going to pass it off to our chief of police.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. I know we all have busy schedules and making time to cover what's going on in Antioch. I just want to take a moment and extend my thanks to all of you for being here. I want to begin by thanking Mr. Burris and his staff, the City of Antioch staff, Mr. Rosenbaum and his staff. Through a collaborative and productive process, we reached an agreement that will help ensure the Antioch Police Department continues to improve how we approach policy, how we conduct our work, and most importantly, how we serve our community. This agreement emphasizes clear and fair policy, the use of data, metrics, and analysis to guide decision-making with community trust and public safety as our top priorities. As we move into the new year, we remain committed to ongoing community engagement and to strengthening transparency and accountability. Thank you, and again, I appreciate all of your time. I want to take a moment to also introduce you to our Professional Standards Unit Captain, Shane Bauer, who will be overseeing all of our engagement with this agreement, as well as managing and working with our monitor on our DOJ agreement as well. Captain Bauer.
Good morning. Shane Bauer. I'm newly appointed a captain at the City of Antioch. I came to the City of Antioch with 29 years of experience, the last 5 working in reform with a prior agency. And some key talking points on what we're going to do moving forward as we build out the reform compliance team that will be overseen by the Professional Standards Division is expanding our transparency and oversight. This will include data collection and analysis. We are going to need to build a team that is going to entail analysts and sworn personnel so that we can gather information and put it out for the community to see. We envision that that will be on some type of public dashboard, which is not uncommon in this line of work now, so that the community can see the efforts that we're making. That'll include audits and reviews as well. The reporting requirements to track the progress in compliance, so we do have different timelines that we need to meet to come into compliance with this. With what I've seen so far, I think we can meet those timelines. The policy and procedure updates, in an effort to modernize our operations, we're going to work with improving non-discriminatory policing, use of force, including the canine deployments. That'll be an individual thing that will be tracked and reported out. Our hiring and promotion process to ensure that we are in line with best practices on that. Compliant intake, review, and resolution. So we will be prompt in taking these complaints in, processing them, and taking action immediately. The supervisory responsibilities and accountability, so the leadership team will have audits in place. We will have direct contact with all lines of supervision within the police department to ensure that they are covering all bases in ensuring that we're in line with the reform effort. Police officer communications, so we've opened up the line of communication with our officers so that we have a more direct line with the line level, or line of communication with line level officers all the way up to the top. And body-worn camera use, this is something that has been proven to be a key tool in officer accountability, and we will be expanding our body-worn camera use exponentially. Community engagement. Our community engagement effort is probably the largest portion of this reform because it entails so many different areas that we can reach out to the community and work with the community to collaborate to ensure that we can come to terms, meet the terms of the settlement agreement, and also with the Department of Justice Memorandum of Agreement. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to bring a member of my staff. This is a collaborative effort on the part of our all-in effort, I might say, on the part of our law office that at all times we had 4 or 5 lawyers working on the case at all times, and that was the first part of the case. The first part of the case, although it was only 23 individuals, we in fact interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people who may have had claims, but ultimately the statute of limitations prevented us from going forward with those. But the work was being done, and I'm going to have Ben and Cliffy, there's 2 others who are not present, but they would like to share their thoughts about the impact of this particular case on the work that we did. Ben?
So I'm Ben Nissenbaum. For me, this really is a full circle moment. When I began working for Mr. Burris in 2001, I was working almost exclusively on the Writers case. And of course, that was a case that transformed the Oakland Police Department into a constitutional policing model department. And we think that this will have the same capacity with respect to the City of Antioch Police Department, so that going forward, it won't have the same kind of issues that it has had historically and that were addressed in the lawsuit. I do want to say that it happened, at the end of the day, there were a lot of people who were victimized, and that was most of the work that I did in the case, was on the individual cases. But we were assisted by other associates in our office, multiple, and one of them is here today, Krithi Basu, who really worked tirelessly on the injunctive relief package, and I'd like to introduce her. Thank you.
Good morning. As a newer attorney, it's been an immense privilege to hear from and uplift the stories of the Antioch community members who wanted to share their stories and step forward to do so. And we really hope that this achievement signals to others facing this kind of injustice that their stories not only matter, but can also shape entire communities once told. After several rounds of meaningful and collaborative negotiations with the city, we've seen that the city has shown this admirable conviction to create a police department that puts its community members' rights and dignity at the forefront of its duties. We've looked at numerous consent decrees around the nation, and the city has committed itself to adopting many of the best police practices that have come out of these kinds of civil rights litigation aimed at improving the relationships between law enforcement and the people they serve. We hope that these efforts inspire other police departments to look inwards, examine, and correct the ways that they may be falling short of their commitment to protect and serve all. It's truly been an honor to work on this case, and I look forward to future cases of similar import.
So, finally, before we go to the all-important matter of signing the document, I just want to say that, or maybe I can't even illustrate the tenacity in which this work was done. It was, and many of you know, if you don't know, I've been involved in police litigation for many years. Each case is painful to me in many ways in terms of the harm that it impacts on a particular community. This case was probably as much as severe as any, even though there wasn't death involved. It was a sense of disrespect for the community in terms of the manner in which these officers performed, did not perform their jobs. And so part of what was here was the willingness on the part of the new administration to understand and appreciate that harm and to put in place procedures that prevents that from happening again. These are very significant issues for us. I thought that as we worked through this, that there was a real interest in appreciating those issues that we set forth in the initial proposal, and appreciating that they represented real harm to people, and that it represented also a failure on the part of the department at the time to really monitor and supervise officers and hold and even the command staff accountable. We think and hopefully believe that this particular agreement has everything in place that's necessary to put forth good constitutional policing, holding officers accountable who misdeed, have a process in place if in fact misconduct does occur, but more importantly for the community itself to have a sense that the department itself is not working against them, it's working for them, and is treating them in a way that's respectful and human, and still deal with the issues that they have to deal with, the police has to deal with in terms of criminality. It's also important from my point of view that the department itself has in place a system that allows for a consistency of discipline. Because as many of you know, in Oakland I have been fighting this battle a long time, and it's important for officers, minority officers as well in the department to know that they will have a fair opportunity to get promoted and a fair opportunity to be disciplined, and all of which at the same rate that others in the department as well. So a lot has been done in this department, in this agreement. It's 55 pages long. Every line, every word was gone over with by us at various times. There were several different iterations of it. And so I think what we've done is try to get the best practices possible. As I would say, it's not for me. I'm not one that's going to be involved in this, but it is for the future. And it's important for me to know that what we have done is put something in place that future generations, and certainly those immediately here, will know that there's a place to go if in fact they're not treated properly. So the agreement itself provides a lot. I think the captain went over a lot of those that were really significant. And we didn't mention early warning system, but all of you should know that it's very important to identify officers early who may be problematic. Doesn't mean you have to terminate them, but it does mean you'll give them an opportunity to correct their behavior. And the early warning system is a huge process, a step in that, and I think that that procedures are in place for a system like that to be implemented, and if it already hasn't been, but also for it to work. The important part is not that we have put the agreement together. The important part is that it's implemented and that it's followed, and that people are held accountable if they in fact do not follow the rules and the procedures I've set forth. So I think that what we have done and have said here really kind of encapsulate our sense of this is a profound opportunity here for both, for the city, not for us because we don't live there. We're lawyers and we're here to make sure that the citizens of the community are treated constitutionally. And I think that the mechanism is here for that to occur. And if that doesn't happen, the mechanism there, and also for those officers who are offending to be held accountable, and there's a process in place for them to be treated fairly as well. So that's really it. And so I think we're now ready to do the do, as they say. Yeah. So I have an agreement. You have an agreement. We will sign them and let it go. And, you got a pen?
I need a pen.
You need a pen. Oh, fine. Oh, we got a pen.
Thank you.
Here's a pen. Okay.
Signing.
We'll sign a couple, so you'll have one and I'll have it. Yep. All right. So we have signed this agreement. Each have a copy. It now will get lodged with the court, and that we have a provision that in the event that it does not work, that it allows for some form of intervention. Although participation, try to work things out, I think, which we found that can be done. And if it can, then obviously the process allows for us to go to court to seek some kind of intervention. Hopefully that will not occur, but disputes will happen. But under good faith, you can work those out, I have found. So that's it in terms of signing. So now what I'll do is we'll accept questions from the media before we then allow the community, those who want to talk, speak. Okay?
Good morning.
You can stand up.
A couple of questions. First, Mr. Burris, what is in this agreement that will force the city to do something that they didn't already or weren't able to do on their own? Because I know they've been instituting a lot of reforms, especially under the lawsuit from the Department of Justice. So what's the difference?
Well, we did go through the agreement and identify those areas where the DOJ had been involved and where we thought it was lacking. Obviously, everything starts from scratch, and that part of what this case is about is there were no controls, no supervisories, no formal discipline that was imposed, and more importantly, because you all know this case was fundamentally dealt with in terms of racial disparities, in terms of attitudes, and that was not in any way enforced, and officers were able to say and do what they wanted. So in many ways, I think that this has systems in place that hold officers and supervisors accountable, and a duty to disclose when these kind of racially discriminatory activity occurs in terms of slurs and use of equipment that by officers. I also think that the early warning system, as I mentioned earlier, was something that was not fully developed, number one. Number two, the stop data activity, which I think is critical in terms of identifying whether or not stops themselves are constitutional or not, is something that's been implemented. And I think that it's extraordinarily important because much of what we're concerned about is are people being stopped because of the neighborhood they're in, and that the stop is not based upon reasonable suspicion, but upon stereotypes. And so that point has also been critically important. I think that the DOJ had a lot of things. We've tried to implement it and went further than they did on those areas. And I'll tell you the big issue is that for us point of view in making sure that we did not get hamstrung, if you will, by the DOJ is because the DOJ is political, and they may or may not enforce an agreement. We see what Trump's DOJ has done, and here they haven't walked away, but they have walked away from other departments. So we wanted to make sure that we have an agreement in place that's enforceable by us and not dependent upon any kind of government to enforce it.
I can expand on that by saying one of the things that we worked out, which I think was painful but necessary, is the expansion. The difference between the U.S. DOJ and this settlement is just the expansion of metrics. So the data-informed decision-making, as Mr. Burris said, so to include expanded key performance indicators and data that's going to be collected in order to then do metrics and evaluations. So what does it mean to, instead of stopping someone because they're in a certain neighborhood, what is the propensity score matching that they would have been stopped anywhere else? So having different data platforms and a really expanded sense of deep diving the data to go to trends analysis and collection to understand what's actually happening in use of force and mostly in stops. So expanding that, those KPIs, who is going to collect them? Is it going to be at dispatch? Is it going to be at the stop? And then the auditing, the body-worn video to make sure that all the reports are matching. So it's a definite expansion of data, the review of data, and making sure that it aligns with policies, practices, and procedures, and then writing about it. So hiring a policy director and as a new position under this agreement to really say we're going to shore up our reporting and transparency and analysis.
One additional point that I want to make that is clearly different, and it's one that was a pet peeve of mine in Oakland as well, and that is that it's sort of a committee that's formulated with the public defender, the judge, and the DA, that when an officer testifies and it's concluded that officer has been untruthful, and what they have is a suppression motion that has been granted because the officer wasn't truthful, that information has to then go back to the department, and that could be the basis upon which an internal affairs complaint can be generated. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes you don't know if you don't follow up that an officer goes to court, they lie, or their search warrant is defective, and the case gets dismissed, but there's no ramification for that. And so I wanted to make sure that that information gets back to the department, and the department can decide whether or not any kind of internal affairs investigation is merited. Also, strengthening the internal affairs. I mean, a lot of this is, you would think that that is understood, but it isn't. Strengthening the internal affairs section is extraordinarily important for the community itself, because the community, when they make a complaint against an officer, they need to know that matter is going to be investigated timely and objectively, fairly. That doesn't always happen, and so we have to want to strengthen that component up that has the compliance department look at some of these internal affairs complaints that have been concluded to determine whether or not there was some deficiency in it. We also to do some kind of statistical look at complaints that have been concluded to be unfounded or not sustained. Now, this is a huge issue for me, because I think a lot of issues that are unfounded, which means it never happened, it's just, to me, it's hard for me to believe that people just make up stuff all the time. So you want to have some kind of way to check the department to determine whether or not there's been an accurate and fair examination of those investigations that have concluded as being unfounded or not sustained. That is another way of checking officers to make sure that they understand and appreciate that when complaints are prepared, and it's on you to keep complaints from being filed, but you don't get a break on the complaint just because. And so those are issues that's important to me.
I guess I was just wondering, could you talk a little bit about like timelines on implementing all of this stuff? When Ben started speaking, he mentioned, right, some of his first work was doing the Riders case, and I imagine neither Antioch nor Ben want to be working on this case in 20 years. So,
well, I won't be, that's for sure.
Well, yeah. At some point you will retire, but like, how's this going to work? And how's it gonna
work? I think it's a 5-year deal maximum, unless the court says otherwise. I have to believe, at least I have a sense, and I'm much more optimistic than I was at Oakland, that there's a real commitment to do what we've agreed to have done. I don't anticipate this taking longer than the 5 years. If it doesn't, I don't. But in the meantime, from now to 5, our office will be there looking at it. But I have, that's why we're here. I think we didn't have this sense of cooperation at the time we left Oakland. It was us telling them what they're going to do, which was rejected in large measure. Ultimately, they had kicking and screaming, but that's why we're still there. But I don't see that here. I've gotten a better sense of cooperation. Now, I always tell officers, and I'll tell these officers too, you may not be here because you all retire. Officers retire after a period of time and they go. And so the question is, have you prepared the case, the work in such a way so the next generation of officers understood what the legacy is and they carry through with it? And that's the challenge that will be here. So, but I like to be optimistic about it. So, and Mr. City Manager, and we've had, the thing that made it work, I think, for us at the beginning, because I wasn't overly optimistic, I thought we were just going to hammer the people, make them do this, like it or not, because that's what happened, something. But the city manager seemed to already understood how this works. So she had some experience in Seattle, and I said when we first had our first meeting, I said, you know, this is going to be a different challenge here, because she understands the work, you know, and was not fighting it the way some departments do. So that's why I think it should last, as long as she's here. Yes.
So there's a component to the agreement that there's going to be a community survey with individuals discussing their outlook on the Antioch Police Department. How are the findings from that survey going to inform future decisions and the way that the policies and practices in the department are then reformed or changed to match what the survey may find?
I can speak to that. So yes, we do have the Antioch Police Oversight Commission as one of the baselines to why we have a great feedback loop. So having a community engagement survey, I believe the chief was already working on a community engagement survey and already has some of the methodology working with a university or some of our technical assistance bureaus. So that data is we are community oriented. And so like Mr. Burris was saying earlier, the implementation of these reforms will be sustained because the culture has changed. It was already beginning to change with the chief. And so that's why we were able to get halfway there because these reforms were being done already. So every policy in the department has literally been rewritten to best and emerging practices. So we already had kind of the groundwork and on-ramp for that. Also, our community is very active. I don't know if you've ever seen any of our council meetings. They're a real hoot. And so if you ever have popcorn on a Tuesday night, you can see the chambers are full because it is like the movie theater. So we have a very engaged community. There's nothing going to stop us getting feedback from community. So the information that we get is actually what informs our practices and our policies outside of posts and the standards that we have to set. And so we listen to community. We have a chief who's very community oriented in terms of policing. Is always out in the community, and we have robust community engagement teams. We have Antioch Police Oversight Commission, who are chairs here in this room, who very engaged, and another commissioner. So the information is a feedback loop that is respected and sought after. So we don't have a police department that doesn't want to be in and of community. So that's not an issue. So that information will be used to have the qualitative part of the data based on community voice inform outcomes, policies, and procedures.
You know, I think that you should not underestimate the connection between the community and the police in terms of the police keeping the community informed as to how the agreement is going, because they're barely being affected by it and they don't always know. So there has to be a mechanism for the community to get this information, and the survey is a way, but that's a survey. Then the question is, how do you respond to their needs? And I think the agreement does allow for you to have regular meetings with them in the various districts, and I think that's extraordinarily important.
We just hear from you, Chief. What do you think is going to be the most challenging thing here to make this all work?
I think we're going to have to do the podium now.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, get out. Okay.
The biggest challenge for us is going to be staffing. We are continually, ever since the beginning of all of this, the struggle has been staffing, trying to get staffing levels up so we are able to accurately address every issue of the agreement. to the fullest capabilities of the police department.
A question for the city and the department. Under the Department of Justice investigation, 40% of the police force was put on paid leave. Only 2 officers went to jail. And I haven't interviewed 100 people, but a lot of people in the community are concerned that many of these officers are back on the police force. So how can you have police reform and justice when maybe some of these cops who are engaged in questionable behavior are still on the force that you're trying to change with this agreement? How does that work? How does that all tie together?
Well, I'm not in the department, so I think it's a challenge. If it were up to us at the time, we would not have want any of these officers to come back who were involved in the conduct. Now, every officer, there were over 40 officers who were on leave. All of them didn't have the same level of culpability in terms of conduct. Some were much more egregious than others. There was at least 3 that were prosecuted criminally for this, and they were certainly bad officers. Other conduct took place as well. But I think it's a challenge because there was officers who carried forth on some of the slurs, the relative slurs, and we certainly didn't have a view that they should remain, but that's up to the department to try to figure out how to make sure that those officers who carried forth that information do not then color the rest of the officers and the efforts that you're trying to make. It's part of the challenge. I'm not, it's not, at least my point of view, that's a challenge that the department has.
Yeah, and I think the biggest aspect of that touches us is what the culture is moving forward since this happened. There's been a lot of talk about, hey, a lot of people have left. We are very much so rebuilding a police department. Yes, over half of the department at one point in time was on leave. What a lot of people don't know is a lot of officers elected to leave for various different reasons. So we are very much rebuilding the police department. But we are also understanding that as we rebuild, we are changing the culture. And me and my executive team sets the standards of what good policing is in the city of Antioch, how we work with the community, setting our standards and setting our expectations so that this will not happen again, but it is also a legacy to the newer officers and the officers who come after that. These are the expectations here. This is what kind of police department we are, and we are going to be moving forward.
And from my perspective as a city manager, the police department is in and of the city. And so a lot of times police departments are siloed, kind of running on their own apart from the city. The city manager has a duty to make sure that there's constitutional policing as well. And so the chief and I work very collaboratively together, checking in quite often on operations, on outcomes, internal affairs, investigations, all the things. It's not a separate entity. That doesn't happen here. So it also takes strong oversight and collaboration with the police chief to ensure that the culture is healthy. And I am a certified inspector general for public safety in particular, have overseen police departments before, so it's just apropos that I'm here for such a time as this.
There's also another component to educating the officers, the new officers. There is a provision in the agreement that says that the historical nature of some of the department should be communicated as part of the training mechanism for the officers, because the culture is changing, but many officers may not understand what that really means and how that came about. And that department, I think, is supposed to put forth a training modality that advises and educates the officers of some of the history of the department that hopefully will let them know this is what you cannot do in the future.
Any other questions? All right.
Okay.
One last question, sorry to be vague. Why did the city want to do this? Oakland did it. Why did you guys want to?
They had no choice.
I
What are you talking about?
Want is subjective.
Okay.
And so,
No. Yeah.
but we are willing to make changes because obviously community is outcry, and data shows that there is a problem. And when you, call someone for help, you don't want to be in a situation where you're afraid to even do that. So for us, we want to be a place where we're seen as one community. Our police officers are also members of our community, whether they live there or not. And so for us, I believe in the chief's sentiment is we're partners with our community, and of course, we want to ensure constitutional policing for all residents. So, yes.
Yeah, it's no question that the good faithfulness of these officers, this department, was important. But it's also no question that it was going to happen no matter what, because we were the driving force of it. We were just fortunate that we had people like this to help, and so we could work through an agreement that really, I think, was in the best interest of the department. And I say that not in the best interest of us, because we don't live in the community, but our view is always what's in the best interest of the department and the community that it lives in. And I think that Christy said it, that the first thing was to just see what the problem is we have here. With that, there was no doubt what the problem was, and then to look to see what has taken place in other places. And so, we started with Oakland, obviously, because I was involved in that. But then we looked at all the other different consent decrees around the country and figured out what would best work for here. And so I think that was an important part from our perspective. But there's no doubt that the collaborative effort on the part of the city itself made life much easier for everyone. And I think in the long run, unlike what we had in Oakland where there was resistance for years, we don't have that resistance here. So I think it can get done in a reasonable fashion, in a way that will better the community itself, for those people who live there, and for those who are passing through, because they count too. In terms of racial profiling, and profiling is a huge issue for me. But that really means something for if you're passing through Antioch and you're on your way to another town, do you get stopped just because? So I think that there's a way the department will have a chance to look at that materials to see if there's some kind of pattern that any one officer, a group of officers, or any particular squad is sort of identifying and stopping people, and that's at a higher rate without probable cause than it should be. But that's part of what we're trying to get done here. It's not perfect. It will be a challenge to get it done, but it can be done. So I'm optimistic that it can get done.
Yeah, who is the independent monitor? Is that Captain Bauer or somebody else?
It's someone else. It's Manjit Sapal. He has been working on the U.S. DOJ agreement, and so one of the great factors was our collaboration on making sure that he continued, so that we don't have dual sort of working against each other. So he will be taking over this as well. So the timelines are the same. So for the U.S. DOJ, it's 3 years with an option for another 2. So we're hoping to wrap both up in the 3 years because a lot of the work has already kind of scaled. So, yeah. Right.
Yes. Any other questions from any statements anyone would like to make from community people? You said they talk at these council meetings all the time. They get here and they get shy, don't have a word to say.
She's coming up right now. I love her.
Wow.
I love her so much. Followed by our esteemed councilwoman.
Okay. Yeah, you said they brought you, didn't they?
Oh yeah, no, I don't think they haven't had coffee like me.
Okay, coffee.
They're just waking up.
I got the coffee late.
I'm sorry.
No problem. Thank you. Our lovely commissioner. Good. Which one? All of them. Good afternoon, everyone. Councilwoman Torres Walker from the city of Antioch. I represent District 1. I'm excited to actually be here today and see this happen. Being in the community since 2019 and our marches after the murder of George Floyd and our community in Antioch demanding transparency, policing, oversight, and accountability was something that was always a priority of mine in particular. When the scandal hit our community, it didn't only hurt individuals who already knew that there was a problem and our community was divided on issues related to policing even before the tech scandal hit our community. It didn't just hurt the relationship between the police department and the community. It hurt relationships between communities. It hurt individuals who invested their deep trust in this police department to do constitutional policing in our community, to do community policing. People who trusted the police department, who told community members that they were crazy, that they didn't know what they was talking about, that they didn't trust, that they just didn't trust the police, that they were just anti-police. And when we dismiss the personal experiences of our residents
that's how we got here today. I'm happy that we got here today. I didn't know if I was a big fan of any particular DOJ oversight because I had witnessed San Francisco. I had witnessed the 27 years in Oakland, and I didn't think that the oversight of the DOJ was going to be effective or that there would be any clear accountability and that communities shouldn't have to wait 20, 21, 20, 27 years to see some results when it comes to policing in our communities. So I was excited to be a part of the team to hire Bessie Scott as our city manager because of her background in these issues. I was excited that she decided to hire our Chief V. Hill, because of our longstanding relationship and his understanding of constitutional policing. And I think we have a great team today in the city of Antioch. I want to encourage our residents, especially residents who have been harmed by the incidents of our police department. I want to say don't only extend grace, but also continue to hold us accountable and continue to show up. I think the words of Mr. Burris here saying he thought he was going to have to force us to do this. We also had a great team of city council members who knew this was necessary, who knew this needed to happen, and people who ran for office to make this happen. And the community supported people to be in those seats, to put us in a position for this to be possible. And so I want to thank all of the team on either side for your hard work and dedication to the city of Antioch. And I know that we are all committed to constitutional community policing moving forward.
No, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Portia Taylor, the chair of the Antioch Police Oversight Commission. As mentioned, I think that our team, our city manager, our chief of police have been more than willing. We're excited to continue holding our police department accountable and reflecting transparency and implementing the settlement agreement into the work that we've already been doing, where I think you can also step forward, my peer commissioner here, and just making sure that our community's voices remain heard and uplifted, and that we continue to be the liaison between community and our city staff. Thank you.
Wait, could I just get your first, last name and title, please?
Portia Taylor, and I am the chair of the Antioch Police Oversight Commission.
Good afternoon. My name is Alicia Lacey Oha, and I am one of the commissioners on the Antioch Police Oversight Commission. Also, I am the second vice president of the East Contra Costa County NAACP. And I also represent the faith-based community. And I am standing before you all to say thank you. We appreciate this settlement agreement. Hope has been restored. You know, there was a loss of hope when all of this had transpired. But today, I can tell you, and also talking with community members, that we see that we are going forward and that the healing process has begun. It's going to take some time, but I believe with this settlement agreement and with the activation of the Antioch Police Oversight Commission, that the healing process will come into fruition. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michael Baldwin, and I am with Saving Our Streets, which is a community-based organization located in Antioch, and I'm a volunteer with that organization. And one of the things that we look to do is we believe that, you know, this agreement is a powerful tool to help check our police force. But as a community-based organization, we also want to be instrumental at helping to educate our community members and helping our community members to learn how to bridge the gap between police and community. And so we want to help heal the community. While the police are being held to account, we also want to be that part, that entity that helps to reduce the violence from our community members on each other so that we can better collaborate and build better bridges between our community and law enforcement partners. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Well, if anything else, Madam City
I think
Manager?
that's it. Thank you so much for coming, everyone.
All right, thank you. Thank all.